Y'all are kicking it with Britt on Gotta Be Country Radio.
Hey y'all, you are kicking it with Britt, and we are here at the Thomas and Mack Center at the NFR, and I have found Coleman Proctor. It is hard to chase you down, man. You have been doing so much stuff.
Well, I got a couple little girls that keep us really busy, honestly, and I've got a lot of great sponsors. That the whole reason I even get to be here. So I've got a lot of obligations throughout the week, but man, it's been fun. This is the one place you can catch me every night, right here at the Thomas and Mack.
Yes, and it's been going pretty decent for you.
Man, I tell you what, it hasn't gone the way that we'd hoped, and we're just fortunate to be here. I told somebody earlier, I came out here and did the TV work last year, and didn't make hardly any money, and I was like, well, I've already made more than I did last year, so
there you go.
I always try to keep a positive attitude and a good spin on it, but
yeah.
I wish this week would have been better, just mainly for my partner and all the people that help us prepare for this. I mean, we've been roping nonstop for the last 2 months, and it's required, grandmas watching the kids of, extra couple days. The sitters are fitting them in when they don't really need, and it just takes a whole army anymore, and that's the only part that kind of bums me is not doing a better job for those people, you know what I mean? So, but it's been a great week. We're happy.
Yeah. And speaking of, you have your dad here with you.
Oh, yeah, this is Chief. So Chief and I, it's funny, a couple years ago, but the first time I ever made the finals, I was in a bit of a slump, and I told Chief, my dad, this is Chief Keith Proctor, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So he said, son, swap me buckles and you'll have some good luck. And I won $12,000 that week. So last night, whenever I missed that steer, the first person I run into is Chief. And he said, son, you can't win if you don't catch. And I was like, well, I'm aware of the rules, but honestly, that's some pretty sound advice. So we swapped buckles tonight, and I popped it off to be really fast and probably win the round. But I'm going to keep it on one more round just for that good luck.
There you go. There you go. Well, and speaking of that, now with your horse, I see that you have CSI saddle pads.
Absolutely.
So what do you think of that?
Man, I tell you what, I've been with CSI saddle pads now for 13 years, and they're a great American-made product with American materials put together with American-made hands. And you know what? In this day and age, that means a lot to me, and especially a good rodeo cowboy, because we want to be proud of the stuff that we put on our horse's back. And man, my horse Heisman and all the way down to my practice horses and my colts, like I want to start them out under saddle. I want them to be comfortable, and I think the flex plate has been a revolutionary device that they've used for the last 13 years, ever since I've been with them. Yep. And I want those horses to start out underneath the saddle and be comfortable the whole way. It releases the pressure all the way across their back. I mean, it's one of the best products, And when I always tell people, like, I'm riding Heisman, a little bay horse of mine that I won the American on, and I won $433,000 on him in one day, and I ride the best. I ride a coat saddle on top of that, and why would you put anything cheaper than the best between the two,
Right.
So,
oh, yeah.
I mean, it makes a huge difference, and CSI is just a great American-made product that I'm proud to represent.
That's awesome. Well, and speaking of, with like the American and a lot of stuff that you're doing here, you do a ton of social media, which people are just, I find people coming up to you as we were just walking over to here, that they are thanking you so much for that behind the scenes.
Well, anymore, that's what we can do for these sponsors and everybody that puts their name on us. We can kind of be a brand for them, and social media gives us a platform to either do really good things or really not great things. So, I mean, you got to pay attention a lot, and my soft spot has always been, I grew up in a spot where I had great role models growing up. Now, I don't want to take the weight on of, I want to be a great role model for the next young generation. I feel like everybody has a bad opinion about kids these days and this and that, but the rodeo kids, like that's the beltway of the whole world, and like that, they're going to be the ones that pull us out of the binds we might get in the future. So, I know that I do a lot of social media stuff, and it's fun, and just because there's times it's like it's okay that we didn't do great tonight. I mean, it's never acceptable to lose. Like, we're not trying to lose.
Right.
I worked way too hard at this game.
Right.
I know people give me just maybe a little bit of a hard time about always kind of being optimistic and happy-go-lucky, but like I worked so hard at this, and our whole family is dedicated to this job. Chief, he's worked the chutes many a times for me, and spun steers for me, heel steers, whatever it takes. Like, I worked super hard, and so my main message every time I try to talk to a youngster along the road is like, hey, you can't be disappointed with the results if you're prepared the right way, and that's what I just try to strive that forward, because I honestly believe it's gonna, when it all comes to the end, it's gonna be those rodeo kids and the farmers' kids that save this nation one day.
Oh yeah. Well, and then it's kind of nice in that aspect. You're a little bit vulnerable, and I think that people don't always want to see all the top, the glitz, the glam, and that type of thing. They want to know that they're real also.
Absolutely, because when I was a kid growing up, you never got exposure. I mean, like the Spin to Win magazine was the first magazine ever to cover rodeo, and it was huge. I made Dad buy it day one, and I mean, that was my Christmas wish, And I followed those guys every time they talked about here, and growing up in Oklahoma, we didn't come to the national finals and watch. Like, we didn't get to see it. It was just what you'd see in the last 3 rounds back in the old school days when it was only on ESPN2, because I happened to have a buddy who knew somebody with a VCR hooked to the cable situation.
And rather you're somewhere with tinfoil. Yep.
So, but nowadays, like, I think that's a great learning tool, because these kids need to understand, man, if you're going to rodeo, you are going to lose the majority of the time. Not in a bad way, but it's just, you're going to get bad breaks, and like this is the best of the best right here. And I consider myself to be on that level, but it's been kind of a rough week, hadn't gone our way. But if I back in tonight already feeling defeated, then last night's deer affecting today, that's no good for anybody.
Exactly.
So, you know, I think that's one thing that is great about social media, is it gives you the opportunity to really just be real with the public and say, here's what I'm feeling. You know, I made a great video the other night, and it was 5 minutes long. I didn't mean for it to be that long. I get a bit long-winded, my wife would say, but like, it was great that I got to show you exactly what I was talking about and feeling right now. And I kind of got to get ahead of everybody's, you know, like, well, you're feeling this, or well, you're doing this. No, like, here's what I feel, here's what I think, and here's what's happening.
Yeah.
And here's how I'm going to fix it. You know, this week's been a long week, and it's been a real test to my optimism, but like, I'm still smiling, we're still here, we're still having a great time. My dad got to come hang out with me.
Yeah.
You know what, we got a lot of studying to do next year, but I promise you I will not be in the same situation next year moving forward.
Good deal. Well, we look forward to seeing you next year here,
You bet.
and also all year long, because I know you got a lot of rodeos coming up this next year.
Absolutely. That's what I told somebody tonight down there in the contestant lounge. There, we're all kind of hanging out, breaking it down afterwards, and I said, you know what, boys, don't worry. Odessa starts in 3 weeks, you know, so I mean, it's a great deal, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of this, and my family supports it so much, and not just my wife and my kids, but, you know, her mom and my dad and everybody. Just, it takes, I mean, any more to rodeo, it really takes an army. So, and all these great sponsors you see on my chest, like, they all mean something deep to me, and I hope I do them a great job, and like, you know, we're just looking forward to next year. It's going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Dang right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking a minute here to kick it with me at the NFR, and we appreciate it. So everybody go over to gottabeCountryRadio.online, where we are radio that doesn't follow the herd.